Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Marcus Speaks. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Marcus Speaks Live, the very podcast that gives you trending topics and other random things. I'm happy to be here tonight. I hope you guys are too. I have a few things that I want to go over first before we get into the video. So, starting off, as usual, people, welcome to Marcus Speaks Live. Alright, please like this video, share this video, comment, and subscribe if you could. Don't forget to write something in the live chat as we go on, because I will be paying attention to that, and I will be conveying you guys' messages and also communicating back with you guys. All right. Every Friday I do this here live stream of my podcast, Marcus Speaks Live. So please remember, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I start this here show. All right. Other than me, putting it out on social media and stuff like that, I'm always here at 8. If not, just check my community section and all that other good stuff. But also, tomorrow afternoon, I will also be streaming some gameplay footage of Spider-Man 2. So at 2:30 on Saturdays, I do a game stream called Marcus Speaks Play. Come on through tomorrow afternoon because you don't want to miss that. Pretty sure you guys have watched everybody else on YouTube play this game, but you haven't seen me play it, and I would like to say I'm better than everybody who's been playing it. But anyway, that's something different. So don't forget to come and check me out on these days and at these times, all right? Once you subscribe to this here channel, hit the bell icon, all that other good stuff, go to the description box, please. And go to the Rumble link, hit the Rumble link. If you haven't already downloaded Rumble, I suggest you to do that if you could. And then come and follow me on Rumble. I believe my next 14 subscribers allow me to start live streaming over there. So once that happens, I want to start taking calls. But I'll take calls now because if you want to, there's a link in the description box. There's also a channel line as well. I don't have that up yet, but I'll let you guys know once I'm ready to start taking calls. You guys can start calling me. And you can call the channel at 302-283-9791. I repeat, the number to this channel is 302-283-9791. So please pay attention when I make that announcement, and we can start talking from there. Also, there are rules when we do this, and I want to make that clear. There are rules. So rule number 1, you must be on camera at all times if you want to come up and talk to me on this channel. There's no ifs, ands, buts about you putting your camera up. There is no, hey, I didn't want to, hey, then I don't feel like talking to you. It's just the rules. All right, I have to see who I'm speaking with before I start talking to you. If you don't want to be on camera to the public, that is fine. There is a question back here that I'd like for you to leave your name and your answer for. So once I do start taking calls, I'll know here in the private chat back here who I am speaking with. So once I know who I'm speaking with, I'll let you know. Come on up. It's your time to shine and all that other good stuff. And the final and last rule is please silence all background noise. I'm at least trying to run a semi-professional live stream here, podcast if you will. So if you could, please do me that favor. Silence all background noise. Go to a nice secluded spot in your house so I can take your call, all right? And please like this video, share this video. Once you subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get all my notifications once I go live. Share it to your social medias, your friends and family, and also comment in the live chat if you could. All right? Now, if you guys have never seen my show, that's fine. What I like to do when I do my show, I like to play videos. All right? Helps me further my point and what I'm speaking about. And instead of me sitting here giving you a diatribe exactly what fair use is, there's not only a YouTube policy, it's also the law. So I want to follow both. So instead of me giving you a long diatribe, what that is,
hello
this
everyone,
is exactly
I'm going
what
to tell
fair
you
use
about
is.
fair use. It's the law. Warning. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107.
All right, y'all. That is fair use. So, with that, let's get into today's show. How about we, huh? Let's get into today's show. So, with today's show, if you guys seen the thumbnail, cool. But if you don't know, I like to do a nice little small banter just to get warmed up before we start the main part of the show. So, how about we do that? All right?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
All right, so let's get into our topic, our small banter topic of the day. So if you guys haven't seen this list yet, we are going to go over it. And you guys have heard me speak about this in length the past couple of Marcus Speaks live podcast episodes of what started out as the as they like to call her, the Cheesecake Factory lady. Then I went and, we all know what happened there. She decided on her date she didn't want to go in the Cheesecake Factory, right? So, with that being said, the gentleman told her, all right, well, I think we're not compatible because, made a slate to not only here, but to where we're at now. But you made a slate to where I wanted to take you, and I had a surprise for you, and a lot of that is out the window now because you're very rude right now, and I don't understand if I'm about to spend my hard-earned money on you, and you want to be a dick, basically. So, uh, then after that, she did a follow-up video where she's like, well, I've realized the error of my ways, and I understand what people are saying, only because she was getting dragged on social media about how people felt or people was feeling about what she was saying uh, during that whole back and forth between her and the gentleman, which their names are Alicia and Jay. So after that, in the video, she said that she was going on to a YouTube show where she was going to basically give some background information about the whole thing and what happened and why it happened. Uh, Last week I did that video where you can see where she was basically giving her spiel as well as Jay on I forgot the man's name. First name is Kevin, can't remember the last name. You go to last week's if you go to last week's podcast, you'll see in the description box where I put the video at. So it's the last video. It's the last video in the accredited video section, which I'll say now. All articles and all videos are accredited in the description box. I do not own any of the content I will be showing you guys tonight, but I will be using fair use as a tool to show you these videos. All articles have been altered from its original form to help with plagiarism, as well as a lot of stuff was misspelled and had grammatical errors and all kinds of stuff that I had to fix. So it's kind of in the way that I want to say everything, but also still in their style of writing. So with that being said, let's get back to what I was just talking about. So they did the interview, right? So earlier this week, this list comes out about all the places where women don't want to go on a date, right? So the post, which I've blocked out the person who posted it just for safety issues and other things. One thing that I didn't get was, which I can probably get now. Men also came out with a list of who they want to date. So let me see if I can find this on Twitter real fast. And yeah, I got it. Hold on. Let me take a screenshot of this. I'll show this picture as well. So so basically the ladies were saying that they don't want to go to these spots because these places are beneath them. And I would say differently, but let's delve into the list. So give me a second, please, as I put this video, not video, this picture I just got. Is it loaded up on here yet? It is not. Sync now, please. Yes. So. Let me see if it's on here. It's not on here. Why not? I might have to. Yeah, I might have to. So let me send this through AirDrop first, because I might have to do that instead of just waiting for it to come up. All right, cool. My bad. All right, cancel that. Let's get out of here. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's bring this picture back up. All right, here we go. So, this list makes it seem like we don't want to date at all. Here is a list of places women absolutely refuse to go on a first date to and thank you to the ladies who reached out to me to help me on my list. So, let's go through them. First one is Cheesecake Factory. Now, I don't understand why women are making the Cheesecake Factory out to be as if it's like the worst restaurant ever to go to when it's not. Like really, it's not. Like when I was taking women out on dates when I was in my early 20s and stuff like that, I basically would take them to either holes in the wall that they never went to, um, places that they would never think to go to, such as like a soul food vegan restaurant that is in Wilmington, that currently needs our help. Uh, uh, if you can, I don't, I think it's on Give Send Go. If it's not on Give Send Go, it's on what's the other one? All those other the y'all know the Give Send Goes and places like that. Uh, she basically has a one of those call to action things that I think she's only asking to raise like 13,000 or something like that. So if y'all could, whenever I can get the information, or just go on to Drop Squad Kitchens Instagram or Facebook page. If they have a Twitter as well, go onto their Twitter. She should have the information up. Please donate, all right? Because that is one of my favorite black-owned restaurants in the area that I live in, the tri-state area, which would be the DMV. So please, if you could, she's based out of Wilmington, Delaware, on the Riverfront Shopping Center, I think it's called. Her restaurant sits across from the river, the Delaware River. Please do yourself a favor, donate if you're in the area, go to the restaurant. You'll thank me later. All right, so let's get back into this. So Cheesecake Factory. Why do y'all hate the Cheesecake Factory so goddamn much? Like the Cheesecake Factory, as I was saying, when I was dating in my 20s, this is where I would take some of my dates. The ones that basically I wanted to take here or whatever. Some of them I would take the holes in the wall. Like this place that's in Oxford, Pennsylvania called Belly Busters. I'm pretty sure many places have subs that are, hold on, let me take this picture down real fast, that are like this big, but you haven't had one of these. There's two places really in my town, well not my town, but my county called Bigfoot's, but that's in like a racist part of town or in the county. And then there's in Oxford, Pennsylvania, there's Belly Busters, and they sell big subs like that or cheese sticks. Sometimes I would take them up there. I'd be like, "Yo, you want to go and get a sub?" Like, I don't really feel like sitting down and eating. I'd rather like grab something than like go on like like sit somewhere and like talk to you, whatever. They would oblige. You're like, okay, cool, that's fine. And then we would go and we will have fun. And we'll grab. I'll get me a belly buster with some belly buttons, which are like hash brown, like hash browns with cheese in them, or whatever. I'll get some belly 2 orders of belly buttons, a chicken cheese stick. I'll ask them, is that fine? Because I wasn't going to sit there and eat the whole thing by myself in front of them. If I was just sitting at home watching some a movie or a TV show or something, yeah, I'll sit down, probably eat half of it and eat the other half the next day, but I wouldn't sit there and eat the whole goddamn thing in front of them. Not a glutton in front of people. I like being a glutton by my goddamn self. But anyway, so yeah, I will take them to that place. Or, if I was planning a night date along with some activities, hey, let's go on and go to Cheesecake Factory. You know what I'm saying? You're getting a lot of food for as much as you're paying. Like, I don't know what the prices are now because I haven't been in it's been a while since I've been. Uh, so yeah, the last time I went, I think it was around my 30th birthday. So it's been 5 years. So yeah, I've been there. I like the food. You get a lot of food for what you're paying. I'm pretty sure the prices have changed since inflation has gone up. So it's probably what, like $20 a plate, something like that, $15, $20 a plate. So you're not doing yourself wrong by going there because you're getting a lot of food. Like I remember going on a date there in my 20s. Chick ordered a salad. I thought she was gonna get a little old rinky dink salad. The plate was about as big as this page is, and the salad was piled to the top. And I'm sitting there like, you gonna eat all that? She said, no, I'm gonna have to take some of this home. I was like, all right, well, cool. All right. So I would say Cheesecake Factory still is in. So, let's go on to the next one. Applebee's. Applebee's is really a restaurant you take your girlfriend to. Y'all been dating for what? Like, let's say like 2 years. It's the only thing in the area. You look at her, hey, you trying to eat at Applebee's? Because I ain't really trying to, order anything tonight or have you cook because, I'm tired. Blah, 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 whatever. And if they oblige, be like, all right, cool. Or maybe they'll say, well, let's not do Applebee's. Let's go to Fridays. Hey, Fridays is a grade up. You know what I'm saying? Better drinks. They're not as watered down. Better food. Let's go to Applebee's. Fridays. Plus, I like Fridays Cajun chicken and shrimp pasta. That shit is delicious. That's what I'll get every time I'm there. I hope they keep it on the menu. But yeah, Applebee's is somewhere that you go. Sorry, I don't even have the picture up. Staring at my ugly face. There you go. There goes the picture. So, Applebee's is the next one. Applebee's, as I said, is somewhere where you take your girlfriend you've been dating for possibly a year or two, and y'all don't feel like cooking, or y'all want to go to lunch there, or you want to go there for half price drinks or happy hour or something like that. Get bottomless. What was that? Bottomless appetizer. Is it bottomless appetizers at Applebee's? I think it is. But anyway, yeah, you know what I mean. Like that's where you go when you're trying to either watch like a game or something you got with your homies. Y'all just having lunch together. Y'all going there to eat before y'all hit the bar or something. Like this not somewhere where you're like, hey, I'll go there with a date on my first date. Nah, they don't want to go. So let's move on to the next. Chili's is number 3. I only ate at Chili's once and I'll never go back, so I understand. Let's move on. Chipotle. Chipotle to me is not a date spot. Chipotle is somewhere where you and your coworker goes and gets food. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's a Chipotle in the area, it's close by to the job. Hey, you trying to get some Chipotle for lunch? Hell yeah, let's get some Chipotle. That's what Chipotle is for. That Chipotle is not, let me take my date here. Like who the hell would do that? Anyway, let's move on. Number 5, Olive Garden. Now, Olive Garden, really to me, and only Olive Garden I've been to 2. I've been to one that's here in my town, and I went to the one that's in Newark, Delaware. Really the Christiana area of Newark, Delaware. But in the Christiana area of Newark, Delaware is another restaurant here that we will talk about. But once that restaurant has overflow, they go over to the Olive Garden that's right next door. So it's like Olive Garden to me can be a date spot. The only thing about Olive Garden for me, I cannot pronounce anything that's in that damn menu, nor do they have numbers next to it. So I can say, yeah, let me get a number 13. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got to say whatever it says in Italian or whatever. So Olive Garden, yeah, I would say yes, you can take someone there. I would say Olive Garden really is a Olive Garden to me is like a family restaurant, somewhere where, let's say like a cousin just graduated from high school, or you're celebrating because they're going away to college, or they just graduated college. That's where really Cheesecake Factory would probably be a spot for somebody, who just graduated or something. But anyway, Olive Garden to me is a family restaurant, so that's somewhere you take your family to. So let's move on. 6, the movies. The ladies, I need y'all to look at my face real fast. Look, when people used to take, well, it's still a popular date ritual to take someone to dinner and a movie, right? Or movie and dinner. Me myself personally, I like taking them to the movies first and then taking them to dinner, because just in case they are a little shy, or they have trouble coming out of their shell, it's something to break the ice with, to talk about what we just watched, the movie that we just seen. What did you like about the movie? Like, what did you hate about the movie? What parts of the movie do you feel as though that if you was the director or the screenwriter, that you would change? What part of the script would you change? It's an icebreaker. So why stop that? Like, y'all don't want to go to the movies. Why? Everybody wants to go and see a movie. I'm pretty sure you will want to go and see a movie. I'm pretty sure it's a movie that you've watched, or a trailer of a movie that you've watched, and you're like, damn, I want to go and see that. And let's say that you've started dating a guy, and you're giving little subtle hints. Yeah, it's been this movie I've been seeing on TV that I might want to go and see. That gives him the idea, oh, maybe I should take her on our date to go and see that movie, because she's been talking about it the past couple days. So instead of y'all saying, no, we don't want to go to the movies anymore, it's like, why not? Let's move on. Bring this back up. All right, number 7, your house. Now, is this a first date thing or a date at, in the post it says date at all, or first date, go on a first date. Okay, so first date, your house, right? Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have any malicious thoughts, such as like, yeah, I'm gonna get her over here so I can fuck her, or I'm gonna get him over here so I can butter him up, feed him, get his stomach nice and full and tight, and then I'm gonna start asking them for stuff or whatever. I don't know, what females do, or what they think when it comes to dating a guy. But y'all saw in the one video I probably showed it twice, where the young lady in the video was complaining about the guy she was dating, of cooking for her. She's like, well, I wanted to go to Capitol Grill or whatever, right? And he's like, I'm fixing you exactly what you was gonna get at Capitol Grill. Like, what's wrong with the food that I fixed? She basically was like, it's not Capitol Grill, that's why. And it's like, I basically just gave like a stiff estimate of probably what he spent. I said maybe like 70 some odd to like 100 some odd dollars that he spent. And it's like, if somebody wants to go all out for you, right? Cooking you, he steamed the broccoli, probably seasoned it real nice. He made, I think it was mashed potatoes. He made some gravy with it. Like, although his plating was a little fucked up of how he had everything, but you could see that he put effort into what he cooked. He cooked the steak, had nice grill marks in it, like, you know what I'm saying, as if you would have gotten that at either what, a Texas Roadhouse or a steakhouse, Longhorn Steakhouse, or wherever, right? Outback Steakhouse. It looked just like it, right? But Shorty's complaining. I don't want this. I want to go to Capitol Grill. Like, take me to Capitol Grill. And it's like, he basically told, yo, stop eating my food and get the fuck out of my house. That's basically what he said. And my whole thing is, and I'm older now. I'm 35. Like, when I was dating in my early and mid 20s, like, I would have never thought of doing this. But from what we used to see on television, such as Living Single and whatever black sitcom we used to watch back then, mainly Living Single. Let's give that a quick little thought. Most of the time, Kyle and Regine and Overton and Overton and Sinclair, their first date, they went out to eat. So Kyle and Regine, Regine will go out with the guys, but let's take Kyle. Kyle, Kyle in his essence of who he was, he wanted to impress, right? He always wanted to impress his bosses at his job. He always wanted to impress his friends, and he always wanted to impress the women he was dating. One thing he would usually do in the show when he was dating a good-looking, woman in the city of New York in the 90s, he would invite her over. Like, hey, let me invite you over. You can have dinner at my place. Like, you would see on the show him, buttering the girl up, making her feel good. She's, oh my gosh, Kyle, this is so good. Did you cook it yourself? Like, by me being a 90s kid, born in the late 80s, growing up in the 90s, right? I used to look at this and be like, when I get his age, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to cook for my date, and I'm going to impress her, right? But seems now y'all don't want that. Me, myself, personally, I would make sure that no hanky-panky would happen. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't turn down any, but I'm just saying, if you was offering, I wouldn't turn down. But I wouldn't try to initiate any sort of activity like that. If I'm supposed to be sitting here taking care of you, I'm sitting here supposed to make sure that you get home and all that, fine. If I know none of that's in the cards of me having sex with you, I wouldn't even try. But ladies, y'all gotta remember, most of the time these bachelors, they pads or they apartments or townhomes or houses, most of the time be in disarray most of the time. And it needs a woman's touch most of the time. So if the man's inviting you into his house, he's really allowing you to see how he's living to see if you can make any improvements in not only his home life, but in his personal life in general. So y'all talking about, I don't want to go over his house. It's like, well, you just missed out on a prime opportunity. So I'll never invite you over my house if you don't want to come over. So let's move on to the next one. Any fast food chain. Fast food is what I would have got Alicia's ass. The lady with the famous I'm not going into the Cheesecake Factory because it's a chain restaurant video. That's where I would have took her when I was taking her home. I would have stopped at McDonald's, Burger King, Chipotle. No, Chipotle's too expensive for the way she was acting. So not Chipotle. Let's say Chick-fil-A. No, Chick-fil-A's too fine of dining as fast food because she didn't even deserve that. So Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, that's where she would have went. But I understand y'all don't want to go to a fast food chain. Hey, I wouldn't even take you there my damn self. So let's move on. Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is a place where you and your homies kick it. It's not somewhere where you take a female. So I agree. Let's move on. We have Wingstop. Wingstop is a why is Wingstop even on here? A lot of these women probably got horror stories of a dude inviting them out or inviting them over their house, and the dude got Wingstop. He got lemon pepper wings that he ordered, and he's like, "Yeah, let's bust down on these wings and watch a couple shows or a movie or something." Anyway, I wouldn't do that, so let's move on. 11, Red Lobster. Like I was saying, in the Newark, Delaware area, preferably the Christiana, Delaware area, in a shopping center, there's a Red Lobster and there is a Olive Garden. When Olive Garden is at capacity, people go over to Red Lobster. If Red Lobster is at capacity, people go over to Olive Garden. So Red Lobster to me on a first date, I would say mostly would probably be a high school or a college thing. If you're mid-20s, you're in your career, or you've been working at your job for however long you've been working, either after you graduated high school or something like that, that's not really somewhere you should take a date, I would say. That's somewhere where you take your family to, such as I said, Olive Garden. So let's move on. A buffet. I wouldn't take you there. I like to eat, but I wouldn't take a first date to a buffet. Like that lets me know. That lets me know if let's say a female took me out on a date, she took me to a buffet, I would be happy. Like I wouldn't complain because I'm not paying. Number one, number two, I'm getting fed. I ain't got nothing. That's cool with me. But with that being said, it's a buffet. Why would you take a first, second, or third date there? Like that's wild to me. Like why? But anyway, what's next? IHOP. Now, there's nothing wrong with IHOP. If you, let's say, you wake up early. Fellas, listen to me. Let's say you wake up early one Saturday morning, right? Let's say that the female you've been talking to for, let's say, like 4 months has texted you like maybe 3 times asking you how your day is, if you're up, text me when you get up. Let's say you like, damn, I'm hungry, but I don't want to fix no food. I do want to see her, though. How about I call her and ask her if she wants to go to IHOP for a breakfast date? You won't go wrong to me, as long as it's not like the Waffle House. Waffle House somewhere you go when you're drunk. In Denny's, let's say Denny's too. That's somewhere where you go when you're drunk. That's not somewhere where you go, or you can take, ask her if you to go to Denny's as well. Like, hey, you want to go to Denny's or you want to go to IHOP for, a breakfast date, or whatever, right? And there's nothing wrong with IHOP, I would say. There's nowhere I would take a first date to. Let's say y'all been talking, y'all been on a couple dates. Let's say you just want to hang out with her, one morning or something like that. I don't see nothing wrong with IHOP. I said Denny's, so the gym. I won't say the gym is a first date spot. I would say it's somewhere where you can hang out with the person that you're talking to or you want to date or something like that. It's just basically to see, right? To me, when I used to ask some of the females that I dated if they wanted to go to the gym with me, that wasn't for them though. That was for them to see me, my physique, what I look like with my shirt off and stuff like that, what my muscles look like. You know what I'm saying? The striations and all that. I want them to see that. Fuck what they're thinking in their head. I'm showing them what they can get. So that's the whole reason why I personally would invite somebody to the gym. So there's nothing wrong with a gym date. Just don't call it a date. It's just a hangout. So let's move on. Church. Nothing wrong with church. I would say. If you don't like the Lord, then bitch, get the fuck out, the fuck from away from me. Like the hell, like I don't want to be around you. Like you don't like the Lord. Like why are we going to the gym? It's like, all right, homie. Like I mean, not the gym, the church. It's like, all right, then. Like I'm good. Like we ain't gotta talk no more. That's my whole thing. So, what's next? Hold on. Cause I forgot to do some things as I usually do. All right, they're in there now. Good. All right, let's move on. Um, what's next? Sure. Starbucks. Starbucks is the same as like IHOP and Denny's. It's a breakfast date, or somewhere if you want to hang out during like brunch hours or whatever. Like say you invite her out to brunch. Well, let's not say brunch. Let's not say brunch. You just want to hang out, right? Starbucks is a nice place. Let's say she works remotely. Like, hey, meet me over at Starbucks. I'm just here having a barista blend. I don't know what the fuck it's called. I don't even go to Starbucks. All right, for some reason this keeps messing up on me for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that, but hopefully it doesn't do it again. But I'm here though. All right. But anyway, what was I talking about though? Starbucks, which goes along with coffee dates. Like, I wouldn't call it a first date spot. It is a hangout spot. So as I was saying, if the girl works remotely, like, hey, come and meet me over at Starbucks. I'm about to have, you know, something to eat, a bite to eat, and whatever. We can talk while you're doing your work, which I wouldn't recommend anyone to do. But let's just say she has free time. She's in between, I don't know, work or whatever, and she can hang out for like a good 15, 20 minutes or, whatever, like 15, 30, 45 minutes. Hey, come on over to Starbucks or whatever. Let's chat for a little while. You know what I mean? That's what that is. Such as ice cream dates as well. If you just sitting at home, you ain't doing shit, you want to see that person, invite them out for ice cream. You're like, hey, you want to go get some ice cream? Or during spring, spring and summertime, read us. Let's get some water ice. Who don't like water ice or ice cream? Some people may be lactose intolerant, but there's always water ice. Can't go wrong with that. Like, come on now. Um, moving on. Family functions. Family functions to me, and I'll say this and only this, and we can move on. Family functions only are for people you've been dating and are serious with within the first 6 months to a year. Anything oh anything earlier than that, I would say no. But if y'all are serious, y'all thinking about getting together, or you guys are already together, 6 months to a year. All right. So moving on. Movie night, Netflix, Hulu, etc. What's wrong with movie night? That's something that you can plan. Like, hey, I was thinking about, like, especially like Friday, like tonight. I watch like 2 or 3 shows on Hulu, Amazon Prime, not Hulu. I'm sorry, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. I was watching the Continental show, which was on Peacock, and that's about it right now. So I'm watching the Gen V, which is the Boys spinoff on Amazon Prime. So I'll be like, hey, you want to come over for movie night? Like I got a few shows I gotta watch first, such as like Loki and you know Gen V or The Boys or Invincible or Mandalorian or whatever's on Hulu or whatever's on Peacock or whatever's on. What you name the streaming service and whatever show you like to watch. There's nothing wrong with movie night, but I would say movie night isn't a good first date idea. I would say probably down the line, maybe like I don't know, like 4 to 5 months in. That would be an ideal thing. If you guys like, going places, if you guys like hanging out with each other, you enjoy each other's company, then I would say, a movie night will be best. Just so you ain't gotta, um, spend a lot of money. What you buying? What, popcorn and snacks and stuff like that? Like, come on, man. Nothing wrong with movie night. But there's something wrong if you're doing it on the first date. So, 22, somewhere that requires a long drive. Um, I don't get that. I can see if you're going somewhere with somebody and it's taking you 2 hours to get there. I can understand that. But let's say it takes like, okay, I live in northeastern Maryland, right? So it takes me an hour to get to Baltimore. So if that's considered a long drive, then I understand, and I won't go with you to the comedy clubs in Baltimore. So thank you for letting me know that, because I won't take the people who are complaining about long drives. All right. Let's move on. Bowling. Nothing wrong with bowling, especially as a first date activity. Like, come on now. There's nothing wrong with bowling. Nightclubs. I can see nightclubs as a don't. I can understand that. So let's move on. Plus, it's too loud for a first date. Like, nah. Okay, next is hookah bar. Hookah bar. Oh, I thought, ladies, I thought y'all liked hookah. Like, what the fuck's going on? I guess y'all like hookah with y'all's homegirls, not with just random strangers or whatever. So I can understand the hookah bar, but I thought y'all like hookah bar. A bar for just drinks. I don't. Why not? Like, I can't take out to get a smoothie. Like what the fuck, yo? Anyway, let's move on. Waffle House. Nah. That's what I said about Denny's and IHOP and all that. It's a breakfast thing. Sports events. Okay, well, I won't take you then. And that completes the list. Like, there's a lot of places on here there's nothing wrong with, but a lot of these females have issues with. So, let's move on to the list that the men said that they don't want. So let's move on to that. These are the types of women that men should not take on a date. So let's go on to this. Single mothers. All right, they came in hot with the first one. Single mothers. All right. I'll move on because I'm not gonna say anything about single mothers. Women with a lot of tattoos. Yeah, I would say if you dating a woman that has a lot of tattoos, there's something promiscuous about her or something strange about her. I feel that way about women who have cats. If you got a cat and you're dating me, just know we ain't gonna be dating for a long time. I'm just saying. I don't like cats. I grew up with cats in my neighborhood, feral cats that will be fighting in the street, keeping you up at night because they're in heat and shit. I don't like cats, so you know I can understand. Women who dress provocatively. If you're dating a woman who is dressing provocatively, then she's for sale, and you shouldn't be with her in the first. Let's put that in perspective. What's next? 4. Sex worker or girls, prawn stars or porn stars or strippers. I can understand that. That's self-explanatory. Let's move on. Instagram models, bottle girls, escorts. That goes along with sex work. So let's move on. Women with large social media followings. Well, that depends on what she does to have that large social media following. I can see if she was like a OF girl or an escort or an Instagram model. But if she does it because maybe she has a business or something like that, like I don't see that as something where you will go, I won't date her because of that reason. Let's move on. Where was that? Women with purple hair, women with any other hair color other than their natural hair color, you should not be dating. Because usually those girls who have colored hair have septum rings. Just saying. Anyway, moving on. Women with promiscuous friends. That goes along with sex work, so don't date them. What's next? Women who travel alone regularly. Yeah, don't date them because they going to Jamaica for what's that shit? Hedonism. They go they go to that hedonism shit. Yeah, don't date them girls. And they coming back with STDs at that, so don't date them girls. Women that drink a lot. Yeah, I really can't. I can't. I can't date, let alone be in a relationship with a woman who has problems with alcohol abuse. Like if they have alcohol abuse and they're or they drink until they're like blackout drunk, I can't date those girls because number one, I'm responsible for you. Number two, I gotta take you home, and you wake up in any other state than what you left with me. Then yeah, I don't date girls who drink a lot. I don't mind the women that I'm dating or talking to drinking. It's just if you drink to where you get blackout drunk or you get drunk to where you're falling out and passing out on the dance floor at the club, yeah, I can't date y'all. You gotta be in control of your liquor, all right? So, yeah, don't date those types of girls who have alcohol issues. Um, Women without fathers. I would say that's not true because I dated a chick who had her father in her life, although he, did some shit when she was younger to they moms and shit like that, and she hates him. I won't say hate, she dislikes certain aspects of them. But I would say women who don't have fathers and women who have fathers that just have father issues, I would say don't date them. Because then that just rolls off onto you, and that's not a good look. So, moving on. Women who party every weekend. Yeah, those women are an issue. Women who have to be out and have to be seen every weekend, don't trust them. Uh, Women previously married. Now, there's nothing wrong with women previously married because you don't even got to look at them as someone you want to pursue. Just, a fun buddy. Just look at it like that. They're a fun buddy. And plus, I tell all you fellas right now, right? If you date if let's say you're in your, like, I think this only works for, well, not really. I would say don't do this until you're in your mid to late 20s and early 30s. If you do date women who was previously married that just got divorced, they're not looking at you as someone that they want to spend the rest of their life with. They're just trying to get over their ex-husband. That's it. Just look at them as a fun buddy. Y'all go out and y'all have fun together. Y'all go out and you guys can do stuff with each other. events and stuff like that, you're gonna have the best sex you've ever had in your life because she was deprived from getting the sex that she wanted, and you basically been fucking everything known to man, and you haven't really gotten a good quality piece of ass. Divorcee is probably the best piece of ass you'll get. Just saying. And ladies, I'm not being derogatory with that, and I'm not being ignorant or rude with that. I'm just saying. And y'all know yourselves, the ones who have been divorcees. Y'all know y'all's sexual drive goes up a little bit once you guys leave your husband. You know, although you're dealing with how am I gonna, deal with this and deal with that and blah blah blah. You also got needs, and those needs kick in every now and again. So, you ain't got. I'm not saying make the man your boyfriend. I'm just saying make him a buddy. That's all I'm saying. All right, what's next? Plus size women. Y'all niggas high. These niggas is high. Ain't nothing like a what I like to call a pleasantly plump or a fun size woman. That's what I like to call plus size woman. That's a little a little chubby, a little fluffy girl. You know what I'm saying? Fun size. That's what I like to call them. They fun size. Can't go wrong with a nice, good looking, beautiful woman. Like you can't go wrong. You know what I'm saying? As long as you treat them good, they gonna have fun. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, these niggas are tripping. Let's see. What's next? Women on dating apps. I would say don't date women who are on dating apps. That's what I would say. That's like that's the stupidest thing ever. Like, why put yourself through that bullshit? Like, dating apps are for weaklings to me. They're for weaklings. What the hell's going on with my sound? All right, y'all give me a second, please, because something's going on with my sound now. Like, what the fuck? All right, testing. So why can't I hear the music? Oh, that's why. All right, now this shit's coming up weird in my headphones. What the hell, man? This damn computer. I need me another computer that I can stream on. Testing. All right, cool. I can see my bars here. Okay, what is the? Yeah, why does it sound distorted? Yeah, I don't understand why. Like on my end, the music that you guys are hearing sounds distorted. It sounds good on y'all's end. It sounds weird on my end. I don't know why. So I'll just keep it going. Um um So women on dating apps, yes, I would say women on dating apps. Uh, Dating apps are for hooking up. That's mainly what they're for. I don't feel like listening to this anymore. That's weird in my ear. Yeah, that's mainly what they're for. Dating apps. They're for people who it's for hooking up. Like, and that's it. Like, it's no reason to be on a dating app unless you want to hook up with them. So that's what I would say personally. Don't date women on dating apps for serious. If you want to seriously, you know, date somebody, I wouldn't look at somebody who's on a dating app seriously to date, for the simple fact that I basically just would say, because you know, either you have the profiles that are like not here for hookups, and you know that shit goes awry. I used what, two dating apps, which was Tinder and Black. This was long ago. Like, this was like 2018. And after the two dates I went on, one that was terrible, one that was good. Me and the girl talked for a little while, but she wasn't that clear of what she wanted to do or whatever. So I stopped talking to her for that. So with that being said, uh, matter of fact, I'll change my answer. Go for it. If you have a bad experience from it, you'll learn from it. You won't use those apps again. But if you're successful with it, hey, go for it. That's what I'll say. And then divorcees, which is 16, goes into women previously married. Basically, what I said about that, just be friends with the person. You ain't got to be somebody's man or anything. Just be buddies. All right. So that concludes the banter portion, which I took a long time. But I would like to get into some things that I feel as though are good spots to take somebody out to on a first date. One of them only had 5, so number one, comedy club. Can't go wrong with a comedy club. Plus, some people are subconscious about their laugh or whatever. So, a woman may not want to laugh around you because of that. Make her comfortable. Go see a comedian that isn't as brash as like a Corey Holcomb or like an Ari Spears or who else? Earthquake, D.L. Hughley. Well, not D.L. Hughley's good, but just don't take him to go and see like a brash comedian that's like real, like forthright in what they're saying. Take them to see like warm them up to like the whole comedy club aspect or whatever. So first person that I went to go and see on a date was Ricky Smiley. Can't go wrong with Ricky Smiley. Or like a Ali Sadiq or Bill Bellamy or who else have I seen? I can't really pinpoint in my mind who else I've seen, but as far as like a comedy club, I've seen a lot of comedians have fun too. So with my dates, like every time I take someone out on a date to a comedy club, I ask them did they have a fun time. They usually ask, when are we coming back here? Who are we gonna see? So that allows me to go to the website, see who's coming up, and then I'll make my plans from that. Picnic dates, more so for the summer, right? This also goes along with like women who are saying that they don't want to be over your house, right? there's nothing wrong with a picnic date. It's not. That's all I gotta say about that. Let's move on. Jazz clubs or poetry bars. Something that you'll usually see more so in like cities, such as like New York, probably Pittsburgh, um, Jersey, maybe. You might find some in Baltimore, DC, and all that. But jazz clubs, there's one in Philly, called what the hell is that jazz club called? Um, Warm Daddies. That's what it's called. Jazz. It's a jazz, like a it's like a jazzy R&B ish type of bar, not bar, but a restaurant. Like you can order food. There's live music playing. Can't go wrong with that. So you get a dinner and a show. You know what I'm saying? What else? Museums. Can't go wrong with a museum or whatever. If she likes to learn and stuff like that, can't go wrong with a museum. And an aquarium date, aquarium or zoo date, can't go wrong with that either, right? Because you guys get to experience each other as if you guys were kids. You get to see that person or whatever out of them. So it's like, me myself personally, when I go to the Baltimore Aquarium, I love sitting in the little silo area where you get to see the saltwater fish going around in a circle, and then like when you like go down like the spiral walkway, you see sharks and stuff. I like sitting in that area where you can see the saltwater fish, because a lot of those fishes colors pop because the people's been feeding them right and stuff like that. So their colors pop, they look good, stuff like that. So plus if you catch the if you catch them at the right time, the people who dive into the tanks, if you catch them at the right time and they're feeding, best time ever, because you get to see how the fish interact and stuff like that. So aquarium or zoo date, can't go wrong with it. But that concludes my list of where I would take someone out on a date. That's just other than the other things that they named on the list that the women don't want to go, such as like Cheesecake Factory. I like the Cheesecake Factory, stuff like that. So whatever. But that concludes the banter portion of the night. Let's get into the main topic. I know it took me long to get here, but let's get into the. I wonder if this needs an update, because I'm starting to hear something weird in my headphones now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna quit this wavelength real fast, and I'll come right. Well, it's not gonna take long, but I'll be here. But let me just quit this and then load it back up. All right, testing. What does it sound like over here? I can't hear the music. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to quit Apple Music again and then boot it back up. Sorry for the inconveniences, because this shit never acts like this. I don't know why it's acting like this. And it's causing Ring to mess up as well, and it's just wild. Anyway. Yeah, I can't hear my music now. Whatever. Moving on. You guys can hear it. So let's get into the main topic of tonight. Main topic main topic of tonight's overview is Minister Louis Farrakhan sues the A.D.L. Okay, so if you guys don't know what's going on, basically, Louis Farrakhan is tired of the A.D.L. shit, basically. For years, the A.D.L. has been basically harassing the minister for his words. Now, I will say this because I used to be an avid N.O.I. follower. I don't really watch a lot of stuff that they do now. But in my early 20s, I used to pay attention to a long... Hold on. Let me blow my nose real fast. All right. Sorry. So, like I was saying, I used to be an avid follower of the N.O.I. and I used to watch all of the Savior's Day celebrations online and stuff like that. So I probably will say that what I'm going to say with my own opinion, other than this article, is probably biased. All right, so let's move on. So I got this article that I'm going to read to you guys tonight and give my opinion on from BET. And if you guys don't know, I like either changing the title that they already have, or I'll keep the title as is, or I might just like switch some words up to make it like flow better, stuff like that. So I have here Louis Farrakhan files a $5 billion defamation suit against the A.D.L. The real article title is in the description box. All right, so basically what's going on is that probably for maybe a couple years now, Louis Farrakhan probably has been revving up to this, because if you guys remember back in 2016, Louis Farrakhan, along with a lot of other people, was kicked off of social media, right? Because of their views on things and how they think and their followership and how, they take up for, Louis Farrakhan and the others, right? So, with this being said, Louis Farrakhan came out and said that he is going to file a $4.8 billion lawsuit against the A.D.L. for defamation, because for maybe 50 years, they've been messing with this man with the words that he has to say when it comes to their community. And mainly when he talks about their community, it's not about the ones who actually are following in Elohim or wherever, I forgot what they call God, Elohim or whatever, of who, the followers who follow the word of God to a T. He's not talking about them. He's talking about the Zionists and all the other disaffected. Is that the word I'm listening for? Disaffected Jewish community or whatever. Those are people that he's talking about. He's not talking about the ones who follow the word of God to a T. He's talking about the others or whatever. So, what we're gonna do, we're gonna get into this video that I have. Hopefully, the sound is good, and I'll stop it periodically and talk about what she's bringing up, and we'll go from there. All right.
So this video, I want to talk about Louis.
What the hell is going on, man? Why can't I hear this? Sorry, I had an update. That's the reason why I can't hear this stuff. Okay, I can hear it now.
Farrakhan.
Oh, I might have to quit this again and bring it back up. All right. I still can't hear the music, which means I won't be able to hear the video. This is crazy, yo. All right, I'm going to be on this. So, what's this? Like a 6-7 second delay? I'm going to be delayed with you guys. So, when I stop it, I'm stopping it from what I'm hearing. All right. I am monitoring my show. So, let's get into the video. Let me start it back from where I had it at. All right, let's go.
Video, I want to talk about Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan is suing the A.D.L for $4.8 billion. So Louis Farrakhan lawsuit against the Anti-Defamation League, A.D.L, might be the biggest one in recent history. The Nation of Islam leader is suing the Jewish civil rights group for $4.8 billion in Manhattan federal court, accusing them of falsely labeling him as an anti-Semite. Court papers read, according to the New York Post, the lawsuit is to ensure the abuse, misuse, and false use of the terms anti-Semite, anti-Semitic, and anti-Semitism has falsely charged by the ADL is permanently barred from being a tool to defame Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam and stifle the exercise of constitutional rights. Now, for decades, the Nation of Islam and the Jewish community have kind of had a back and forth. This is from the ADL's website. Farrakhan.
Okay, let's stop there. So, what's happening right now is that basically the ADL is trying to impede on Louis Farrakhan's First Amendment right? Okay, so within the First Amendment, you have ability to assemble and what's the other part of it? Assemble and freedom of religion, right? Expression of religion. So also it entails as well, you can speak freely, but you have constraints on it, right? So basically what Louis Farrakhan has been doing for basically the past 50 years is going over biblical texts and then critiquing the Zionists and as well as the disaffected Jews and calling them out. That's all he's been doing. So with the ADL doing this, which they've been calling him out for 50 years, if not more, and things that he has to say when it comes to the Jewish community, he basically has only been doing what he's been doing and what he's been saying through biblical texts. It hasn't been anything other than that, other than from biblical texts. He reads from the Bible and then he critiques of what he sees. So, is there anything wrong with that? Are we allowed to critique certain groups in this country? Yes, we are. We're allowed as part of our First Amendment right. Are we allowed to talk about them? And if we are part of the clergy, are we allowed to uh, talk about them through biblical texts? in our own opinions. Yes, we are, because if we're interpreting the text of whatever religious Bible or Quran or Torah that you read, we are allowed if we're a part of the clergy, because we've had training of understanding this text in its entirety. So why is it that Louis Farrakhan can't do it? I'm not saying, when I say we, I'm not saying I'm a part of that, because I'm not a part of the clergy. I have family members that are in the clergy, but I'm not a member. So I wouldn't say we in putting me in there. I'm just saying that within this, he is a trained minister. He was trained by the minister, the most honorable, uh, Elijah Muhammad. He was trained by him. Well, no, matter of fact, not only was he trained by him, he also was trained by Malcolm X. So, what are we saying here? He has the training. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. He's been doing this for years. What is the issue? That's all I have to say. Let's get back into the video.
Remains most popular in America. And this was dated back in 2020, July 15, 2020, where they are accusing the Nation of Islam and Minister Louis Farrakhan's speech meant to be anti-Semitic lies and stereotypes, right? Let me just say this. Minister Louis Farrakhan is highly respected, educated, intellectual. He's a great leader. I respect this man. He knows history, world history, and every religion, every culture have a dark side, have committed some form of atrocities in society. Every single.
All right, y'all. I might have to cut the video off. You'll still hear the audio because it's making my stream jump. So I might have to do that for all the other videos as well. So I'm sorry for that, but we'll just have to deal with the audio.
So if this man is highlighting a period in time that took place with a certain group, he's not lying. So if he's not telling lies of something that if of something that happened, if he's telling the truth of something that happened or continue to happen, then you cannot say he's anti anything. Elon Musk is another one. A.D.L has been under scrutiny lately.
Sorry.
But the difference between Elon Musk's threats and Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, the Nation of Islam and Minister Louis Farrakhan had actually filed lawsuit papers in a Manhattan court against the A.D.L. Now, the A.D.L responded, and, they're saying despite the insane dollar amount they...
All right, sorry for that. But anyway, so she just said that Elon Musk, which that was the part I didn't play because I didn't feel it was important, but let's bring it up since she brought it up. So Elon Musk threatened, I believe back in September, early to mid-September, that he threatened that he was going to sue the A.D.L. basically because they basically told him that he needed to do something when it comes to Twitter. Like, I forgot what it was for, but they said they need to censor somebody or censor something. And Elon Musk was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, what is wrong with y'all? I'm not about to start censoring people on my platform because I know this is what every other platform is doing, and want our our full involvement and full involvement and our full backing for you guys. But it's like, look, he was basically saying I don't have nothing wrong. I don't see anything wrong with you guys' movement or anything. I feel like you guys should have it, but don't do it to the point to where you guys are infringing on people's rights. And that's when Elon Musk was like, well, if you guys keep doing this, I'm gonna have to sue y'all. And they kind of backed down, but not really. But you gotta remember, Elon Musk, once he bought Twitter, has became a person of interest that they want to control. But he's the richest man, one of the richest men in the world. So how can you control somebody who basically don't need your dime, don't need your dollar, and he comes up with ideas to make money and to better the world, I guess, in his way. So like, how can you try to have this man uh do something to your every beck and call? Now let's look at Farrakhan. Same person. Well, not really the same person, but let's look at it in a way where Farrakhan, self-sustaining. The Nation of Islam is self-sustaining. Also, um, they the Nation of Islam, they have their own farms, they have their own restaurants, they have their own grocery stores. So, in no way, shape, or form can the A.D.L come out of their mouth and say, we want this man banned because of this, or this man is denigrating our community off of what he's saying. And it's like, just challenge what he's saying, debate him. But we all know when Farrakhan debates, what happens to the person that he debates? They become small, real small. Because I would say the Nation of Islam, whoever debates in the Nation of Islam, most of the time they know what they're talking about. They take a long time getting there, but they know what they're talking about. Because, they go through a long diatribe of some fuck shit that some people don't want to hear, and then they get into the details and information of everything that is being asked of them. Which I would say giving backstory isn't something that's wrong. All I'm saying is that some people can't deal with hearing shit that they're not accustomed to hearing. So I would say to the Nation of Islam, to all the debaters who debate certain groups or just debate in general, just get to the point, and so people can take the meat and then throw away the bones. You don't really need the presentation the way that you guys have been doing for so long or whatever. Anyway, let's get back to what she was saying. I got like 10 seconds left, so let's get back into it.
ADL does not seem to be worried about the suit, telling the New York Post it has no merit. Really? Well, that's why you go to court, to prove merit.
All right. All right. So I will get into that in this article because the head of the ADL, he basically said that Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam have no merit in what they're talking about. Plus, they said with the dollar amount that he's talking about, they was like, I'm pretty sure it won't make it a trial. It's like, as what Dana said, and thank you, Dana, for allowing me to use that video. If you got my message on that video, I would say this. Like Dana said, that's the reason why you go to court, to see if there's merit or not. Now, I'm pretty sure if they can collect every single speech that Louis Farrakhan has said when it comes to talking about the Jews or the Jewish community, you would see in there, although, people are agreeing with him and stuff like that while he's saying it, dissect what he's saying and then see if he's lying or not. Because what I basically hear from the A.D.L is your butt hurt that he did this. So my understanding is you guys allow yourselves to talk about him and call him an anti-Semite, and when he asked to debate you guys basically curl up in the fetal position and you don't answer his call for you guys to debate. My whole thing is do the debate. Prove him wrong. Like, that's all you have to do. Anyway, let's get into this article. I'm pretty sure you guys are clamoring at knowing what is going on. So, Nation of Islam leader, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, has filed a $5 billion lawsuit against the Anti-Defamation League for falsely characterizing him as an anti-Semite. According to the New York Post, the claim was filed in a Manhattan federal court, accusing the civil rights group of interfering with his First Amendment rights. This lawsuit is to ensure that the abuse, misuse, and false use of the terms anti-Semite, anti-Semitic, and anti-Semitism as falsely charged by the A.D.L is permanently barred from being a tool to defame Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. The stifle the exercise of constitutional rights, the claim reads. In the suit, Farrakhan, hold on, where's my pointer? Farrakhan said that the Anti-Defamation League is an un-American organization and has woven itself into the fabric of both the United States government in general and into local governments within America, in particular to advance interests that are un-American to the extent that it tramples and trammels upon the constitutional rights of Minister Louis Farrakhan and American citizens. Additionally, he claims that he has never harmed a hair on the head of any Jewish person or even advocated for such, and boasted he honors, respects, and even admires many members of the Jewish community, in concluding his boyhood idol and one of his greatest violinists. How do you say this? Yash Yasha. I don't know how to say this person's name. Who was a Russian Jew and his own Jewish violin teacher. Now let's stop there. If you guys don't know, Louis Farrakhan is a violinist. I don't know if you guys knew that. He is a classical violinist. He had a calypso band back in the early 30s, I would say 30s, 40s. And he's damn good if you ever heard him. He's damn good on the violin. He can sing. He can sing well too. You gotta remember, he was in a calypso band back in those times before he even became a member of the Nation of Islam. It was his wife that joined before he did, and then he came to the meetings and stuff like that, and he basically was like, "I like it here. You know, these people, they get who I am. Although I got to give up weed and cigarettes and alcohol, but I'm willing to do that to make not only my wife happy, but the community that I'm about to enter happy." So this is Louis Farrakhan, or as he was formerly known as Louis Walcott back in those days. He basically changed his life over from, you know, playing violin and being in a band in like dirty nightclubs and stuff like that, where there's pimps and hookers and all kinds of people and gangsters and stuff there. He basically changed his life around for his family. So let's dive into him saying that he admires many members in the Jewish community. His violin teacher was a Jewish person. The very person that taught him how to play violin good was a Jewish person. So why would he have so much strife in his heart if the very person who taught him how to play violin is a part of the community of which the people that denigrate him on a daily basis is going against him? I don't understand. As I said earlier, he only talks about the Zionists and the disaffected Jews. That's all he talks about. He doesn't talk about members in the community that are doing good in life and are basically making a stand against the very people that he's also talking about. He's not talking about them. He's talking about those disaffected and Zionist Jews. That's all he's talking about. But, you know, they don't get that because you can't say anything about that community because you'll be ostracized for whatever reason. All right? So let's keep going. Farrakhan has had a continuous relationship with Jewish people that began when he came to the defense of Reverend Jesse Jackson after he was accused of calling the Jews a racial slur during his presidential campaign in 1984. Now, I'm too young. I'm 4 years too young to know about that, so I'll let that pass. But with that being said, he came to the defense of Jesse Jackson, which Jesse Jackson at the time wasn't the same Jesse Jackson that we know today. It was a very different Jesse Jackson. But he came to the defense of Jesse Jackson for the simple fact that, you know, that community felt as though Jesse Jackson said something derogatory against them. So, you know, Farrakhan being who he is, he loves his people. He basically said, you know what? I'm not going to let this stand. I'm not going to let my brother go out there and, you know, basically be unequipped and not ready for whatever's coming to him. So I'll help him out. That's basically what kind of happened, sort of, kind of, not really. All right. Anyway, let's keep going. It is because of Minister Farrakhan's unwavering defense of himself and Reverend Jesse Jackson that the A.D.L began plastering him with the false and injurious label of anti-Semite, of which, this is Louis Farrakhan's words, not mine. He said that, I believe during the 1985 Savior's Day, he basically did a speech that night. He basically ran down everything. He said, you know, I've been seeing that they've been protesting outside of whatever, and they've been chanting, who do we want? Farrakhan. How do we want him? Dead. He basically said, after all that, after, you know, saying his spiel about everything, he basically said, if a hair gets harmed on my body, this country will erupt in an uproar if I am harmed. not just by the people who are in the Nation of Islam, but everybody who respects the Nation of Islam and follows the Nation of Islam, which is true. If anything would have happened or will happen, or if something does happen to Farrakhan, well, just know it's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers going places of where they were instructed to go. I'm just saying that plain. If anything happens, and this goes for any community who wants to harm Farrakhan, this goes for them. There will be a lot of black men and women, but I'm pretty sure Farrakhan won't allow women to go on this crusade. But there will be a lot of black men waiting for instructions. Me as well. I will be waiting for instructions. I'm just saying. So if they feel as though that this is what they think should be said or done to this man, just know it's a lot of motherfuckers that have a lot of strife in their heart that basically want an issue. And you're not doing yourself a service by allowing yourself to be so butthurt that you're allowing yourself to come in harm's way. And I'm not even saying that we're going to harm you with physical violence. You might get a stern talking to be honest. Anyway. So A.D.L began plastering him with the false and injurious label of anti-Semite, Farrakhan said in court documents. Farrakhan was caught on tape recording calling Judaism a gutter religion during a sermon in 1984 after first denying that he remarked or he made those remarks. According to the Post, in a speech in 1998, he said, Jews have been so bad at politics, they lost half their population and I won't say that last part. Now, I don't know if he said that or not. I'm not denying that he didn't say it, but I don't know if he did say it. So I'm just going to move on from that. Anyway. Jews are responsible for all this filth and denigration. The degenerate behavior that Hollywood is putting out, turning men into women and women into men. He said more recently in 2018. The Post also reported. So let's stop there. Now, if you put on your conspiracy cap. In the conspiracy world, which is your first class that you take when you reach consciousness, is conspiracy class. Conspiracy 101 is what you take. Basic conspiracy conspiracy theory class is basically teaching you how to decipher what is real and what is not real. That's basically what it all is. I will also say, in those conspiracy teachings, you always come across, it doesn't matter how many times you take the class, you always come across that the Jewish community run Hollywood. They haven't denied it though. Now, with that being said, since we sort of kind of know, there's a lot of effects going on that I don't even know what the hell's going on. But anyway, so in the teachings, I would say, you learn what groups of Jewish people set up in Hollywood to tell their stories, or whatever, because they're just coming off from whatever they was coming off from. I can't really pinpoint it. But when they started Hollywood and all that, they started telling their stories, like the people that they are, and the strife that they went through. And then once they was done with those stories, they started allowing other people to tell their stories. And then they was like, well, we got to control this somehow. So we got to start making movie houses. So then you get the Warner Brothers, and then you get, whatever. And then with that, you get the weird behavior. You all heard about the casting couch. You learned that in conspiracy class. You hear about how they always want black men to be in dresses, as you heard Dave Chappelle say before. You can also pinpoint all of the black celebrities or actors who have been in dresses. Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle was in a dress. I don't know if you guys know that. Kevin Hart, he also kissed a man on camera in a movie. You have Flip Wilson doing the Geraldine character. You can ramble them off. You can ramble them off of who's been in a dress in Hollywood. Radio personality Big Boy played a woman in Deuce Bigalow, Mel Gigolo. Y'all remember that? When Big Boy was fat, he played a woman. He was in a dress. Well, who's given the direction to do this? And who's signing off on these directions that are being taken in Hollywood? Because you can say that it's not the people who are actually in these movies that are controlling this. So who's controlling it? What have we seen here recently since, like 2000, probably even further back, but let's just say the pinpoint a year when we started seeing all this shit happen was 2016. Started seeing more, gay characters in movies and shows, which goes back to like Will and Grace, which, you see your first two gay people on television. It goes back to when Ellen DeGeneres said in her sitcom back in the day that she was gay, and that was her actually coming out in real life as well. So, but let's just pinpoint it to 2016. We started seeing it more and more often. Did we not? We started seeing it more. So if you started seeing it more then, and then we're here now to where we're seeing Dylan Mulvaney on Bud Light cans. We're starting to see the trans community in entertainment within a whole. Hell, a woman just won Woman of the Year a man just won Woman of the Year. I forgot for what publication. But a trans woman, which is, biologically a man, won Woman of the Year. This year, won Woman of the Year. So where is this behavior coming from? Where is this sexual deviancy coming from? I don't know where it's coming from, but it's being put before our eyes. And it's a lot of people who have issues with this, so much so that when this whole Dylan Mulvaney thing was happening, Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch lost, was it like 20 something billion dollars? To where they had to rebrand, basically. Like, they really had to rebrand. They fired the person who basically spearheaded all of this, fired that lady, and then brought in a whole new marketing team to then, hey, we're not about that. We're about, America and horses and country music and shit. Like this is what we're about. We're not about, we had nothing to do with what you just saw. But this is what we're about. We're about America. We're about sporting events and stuff like that. This is what we're about. We're about man shit. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't really convey over to the people that were their customers. So who the fuck is, who's spearheading this shit? Just saying. Anyway, just a question. So, going back to the article, but Farrakhan was also invited to speak at St. Sabina Church in Chicago in 2019, and he said that he harbors no hate in his heart towards Jews. I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. Farrakhan said, I have not said one word of hate. I do not hate Jewish people. Not one that is with me has ever committed a crime against Jewish people, black people, white people. As long as you don't attack us, we won't bother you. Which is basically a paraphrasing of a Quranic passage. That's basically what he just did there. So, they're basically saying that he, his words are harmful, which, is something that the LGBTQ community just started to adopt, right? Words can kill. You're killing us with your words. And it's like, nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is what their whole thing was as well. And it's like, well, no, that's not what we're doing here. I don't say anything bad about anybody. It's only the satanic Jews I'm talking about, which are the disaffected or the Zionist Jews, is what he's talking about. Like, let's take this whole, and I'll be kind of talking about this, sort of, kind of, not really. Let's talk about the whole Hamas and Palestine thing, right? Israel and Hamas, right? Which, this is my next topic I'll be talking about in the random topics portion with the whole Dave Chappelle thing. Dave Chappelle, his whole audience, well, some of the audience walked out of his show just recently because they didn't agree with what he was saying because it wasn't a part of the narrative that is being passed along. I'm seeing everybody in alternative news that I watch basically do this. Basically say Hamas is a terrorist group and this and that. I don't know too much about any of what's going on in that region. I have no idea other than what I've been told in these videos. But if that's the case, if Dave Chappelle can't make a comment about that, and then we back this up to Louis Farrakhan making comments about the disaffected and the Zionist Jews, then what the fuck is going on? Is this America still? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't understand this at all. Like, they're trying to convey a message here of what they feel about, what their opinion. But it's people that don't understand anything that's basically being ran astray by the fake news media that basically have a script that they go off of, and they're basically denigrating wherever Gaza is, like whatever country Gaza's in, if Gaza is in its own country. But anyway, I know where it's at. It's just, I don't know too much about the situation, so I'm not making like any derogatory comments about it because I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know why Hamas did that. All I know is that Hamas was created by Palestine or something like that, or Israel, and then this is what they got, and then whatever. Anyway, let's keep going. The enemy is so hateful of me, Farrakhan continued. I have never been arrested. No drunken driving. This is what he said, drunken driving. What have I done that you hate me like that? Responding to Farrakhan's suit is none other than Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO of the A.D.L, said that complaint has no merit. Louis Farrakhan is an anti-Semite. One need look no further than his own words and statements to come away with the same conclusion, Greenblatt said. Because basically, Jonathan Greenblatt is basically stating here that Farrakhan's words are harmful to all Jews because he basically states biblical, Quranic, and Torah history that is said in the Bible, as well as biblical historic research that he does, and as well as, I would say, recent history that he goes off of. And it's like, why is this man being so forthright in his statements about this man if this man basically has said nothing derogatory towards the Jews who follow the Torah to a T, follow God's words and his laws and stuff like that to a T? He's not talking about them. He's talking about the ones who are disaffected and the ones who follow Zionism, basically. That's all he's talking about. He said this for years. For years, he has said this, and it's always gone over, the Anti-Defamation League's head, because he feels that they're being harmful to him. I mean, he's being harmful to them with his words. But then, when they counter-react and say the things that they say, Farrakhan's just supposed to take what they're saying, and he wasn't even directing it towards that community of Jewish people. He was directing it towards the other ones. But, his claims have no merit, right? But y'all have been attacking him for about 50 plus years now. And the man's 90 years old now. Right? Just think about it. Just saying. Anyway, that has concluded the main topic portion of tonight. Let's move into the random topics portion. And I have, for the random topics of the week overview, audience members leave Dave Chappelle's show after he voices his opinion on the Gaza and Palestine situation, and new evidence in the George Floyd case. So, recently Dave Chappelle did a show in Boston, at the Boston Garden, and in his shows now, Dave Chappelle gets very, intimate with his audience about his opinion and his thoughts of things, stuff like that. Well, this is what he said is a very hot topic. Nobody knows exactly what he said because it wasn't recorded or whatever. I'm pretty sure there's some articles out there that I didn't get to find of what he said. Maybe they'll have what he said in this article that I have. But he basically wanted to voice his opinion about what he feels because Dave Chappelle is a Muslim, so I'm pretty sure he might have took Gaza's side, but at the same time also stating that he doesn't feel as though that anyone should lose their life in any of this. So let's look at this video. Let me hope it works and it doesn't mess up. I only got 53 seconds on this, so let's go.
Some audience members reportedly walked out of Dave Chappelle's show in Boston last week over comments about the Israel-Hamas war. According to the Wall Street Journal, Chappelle commented this condemned.
All right, I don't know what just happened, but I'm sorry. Anyway, let's keep going.
But then blasted what he claims were Israel's war crimes in Gaza. An audience member says that it started when someone told Chappelle to shut up after he said he didn't think people should lose their jobs for supporting Palestinians. Chappelle reportedly responded by criticizing the Israeli government's decision to cut off food, water, and electricity to Gaza. He also accused Israel of killing innocent civilians. A spokesman for Chappelle told the Journal the comedian denies being in Boston that night, despite the show being listed among his dates by ticket outlets.
All right, so moving on. So basically, he basically conveyed the same thing that I did. That Dave Chappelle, voiced his opinion of what he thought is right and what should happen, but they didn't like it all that much. So the audience members that were there are butthurt. Now, judging by the time that I have, I may not go through all of this. So I need to find the timestamp of the next video, but I can't find it. All right. So let's get into the article. I get this from CBS News, and they state, comedian Dave Chappelle. Let's bring his picture up. Comedian Dave Chappelle. Comments about the war between Israel and Hamas reportedly triggered a walkout of his Boston comedy show late last week. During the show at the TD Garden Thursday night, Chappelle criticized Israeli actions in Gaza, calling them war crimes. That's according to the Wall Street Journal, which spoke with several audience members. They said Chappelle also condemned the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel and the U.S. for aiding Israel. Reaction to his comments about Israel was reportedly mixed. While some audience members cheered on Chappelle's opinions on the war, others heckled and challenged the comedian, while still others walked out of the arena entirely. Chappelle performed at the TD Garden on both Thursday and Friday night. Many Americans have been closely watching the violent events in Israel and Gaza, which have claimed thousands of lives. Israel says the October 7th attack by Hamas killed 1,400 people. The Ministry of Health in Hamas-ruled Gaza says more than 5,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's airstrikes. Israel disputes that toll. Israel also says Hamas is still holding more than 200 hostages. Two American hostages with Massachusetts ties were released last week. All right, so moving on to the second part of this, which I got from Vanity Fair, which says Dave Chappelle says his controversial remarks got misquoted. So a week after Dave Chappelle's controversial comments regarding Israel's bombing of Gaza reportedly caused some in the audience of his Boston show to walk out, the comedian attempted to set the record straight. Right now, I'm in trouble because the Jewish community is upset. Chappelle told a crowd of more than 20,000 people in Raleigh, New Jersey. Raleigh. Raleigh, North Carolina on Wednesday, according to New York Times reporter Jonathan Abrams. But I cannot express this enough. No matter what you read about the show in Boston, you will never see quotation marks around anything I said. They don't know what I said. What the 50-year-old comic is reported to have said is that students have expressed support for Palestine, should not be denied job offers, according to the Wall Street Journal, which led to the heckler telling Chappelle to shut up. Okay, so this is what they're talking about. So, I believe it was Harvard. It was Harvard, I believe. Harvard basically came out. No, I'm sorry. It was Harvard students that he's talking about. So it was various companies that said that we won't be hiring these people once they graduate college because we don't like their views. That's basically what happened, right? So what Dave Chappelle is saying is that he doesn't want that to happen because it doesn't make sense to stop someone who wants to maybe work for a company or whatever to be denied a job because of their views on something that happened in history, right? So Dave Chappelle's not wrong for that. He's not wrong for that at all. It's just that people don't understand the error in their words and their actions. Because, like I said earlier, I don't know too much about this to even comment on it. Because all I know is that something happened back in the early 1900s. I believe that area was occupied by Britain, and then they pulled out, and then I think around the time of that time during World War II, if you catch my drift with Dolph and his boys, I believe when some of those Jews escaped from Germany, they went to Gaza, I believe, and they were refugees. And then some way down the line, they started to tell the people who lived in Gaza that the land of which they're on, God told them that this is their land, right? And then some shit happened in 1940 something and 1970 something, and then we're at where we're at today. And that's all I really know about it, and that's all which really has been talked about when it comes to this. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because that's all I know. I don't really know too much about none of this to even give an opinion on it. Like, you can't stop somebody from saying what they feel as though is true to them. Like, why are you stopping this man from talking? It makes no sense. So, anyway, moving on. Intern Chappelle continued to speak on the topic following his condemnation of the October 7th Hamas attack, in which over 1,000 Israelis died. Chappelle criticized what he said were war crimes in Gaza, according to the Wall Street Journal report. He also accused the U.S. of aiding the slaughter of innocent civilians, of which they are, per the same report. Some in the audience applauded Chappelle's comments and shouted "Free Palestine," as reported by the Wall Street Journal, while others exited the venue. The audience was cheering Chappelle on during his tirade. I was sick. We were sick. I turned to my friend and wife and said, I think it's time to go. The Daily Mail cites an audience member saying via social media, we walked out and met up with many other Jews leaving the show. Never in my life have I felt so unsafe and so fearful of what I was witnessing. Now let's stop there. It's not the words of what Dave Chappelle was saying, of which was the truth, is that I recently was watching a podcast on YouTube named In Godfrey We Trust. It's led by comedian Godfrey, if you know him. He was in such movies as Original Gangsters and Soul Plane. He played Leslie Gayman. He played Leslie Gayman. And so with that being said, he has a 2-part episode on his YouTube channel where it's 2 people from Palestine who are, well, no, I'm sorry, 2 Muslims and 2 Jews, along with his co-host, Dante Nero. They're talking about the situation at hand that's in Gaza. Now, there's one person on the Jewish side, which is a woman. She's basically, in her arguments, was blaming Hamas for everything that has gone wrong in that country for decades. And she's not listening to not only the other Jewish gentleman that is as well on her side on certain aspects of her arguments in the debate, but at the same time, she was glossing over the fact of certain things that what Palestine has done to the people in Israel. I think Gaza is in Israel, I believe. Don't quote me on that. So with that being said, I believe, like, I think you guys should watch that 2-part episode. Each episode is like an hour and some change. But in these arguments, you can see the Muslim lady. Now, I would say every single person in that room are comedians, but you know, one of the men on the Muslim side, he, he's a disaffected Muslim. He's also a gay man, so whatever. He's also Iranian, I believe. So whatever. It's just still, he has his points in that. Then you have the Muslim woman, and she's from Israel or whatever. Her family's from Israel. She's also a Muslim. So she states her facts on the situation as well. And her, she says in it that her family, one of her family members, got shot for just standing somewhere. And then in the rebuttal, the Jewish lady then says that, well, what about all of the, Jewish people of Palestine who have been killed by Hamas? And it's like, you're glossing over the fact of what she's saying. She said that one of her family members was shot for no entire reason, just by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. She's not saying that all Jews are bad. She's saying that the regime over there that is allowing this shit to happen is the bad guy. Now you gotta remember this as well. Some other information I picked up. The electricity and the water that Israel uses, I believe in that Gaza Strip. If not, if Gaza's its own country, I don't know. They Palestine controls that. They control their electricity and their water. They're basically, in the Muslim girl's words, she says that Gaza is in an open air prison because there was a wall that was put up from the from one end of Gaza to the other end of Gaza. There's no way out or in to get to that country other than if I guess you have some sort of paperwork that you can get in there and whatever, and then boom, you get to be there, right? But with the arguments between the two, because the whole time in both episodes, it's just the women talking. Now, Godfrey and Dante, they do, try to chill everything out, make sure everyone is stating their piece and everything, and they also are asking questions on certain aspects of what's going on over there because they want to know what the solution can be. How can they stop what's going on there? That's all. That's all that they want to know. They want to know what can they do, or what can those two countries do to find peace so none of this happens anymore, right? So, with that being said, it's like, well, when you try to get this out there and in debate form, always people who are a part of the who live in Palestine, or people who have family who live in Palestine, or people who are connected to Palestine, they always do exactly what Jonathan Greenblatt and everyone in the A.D.L does when it comes to Farrakhan. They pivot another way and say something that has nothing to do with the argument at hand. And I'm really sick of hearing about all of this, to be honest. Like, I watch certain alternative news organization. I won't call them really organizations, but other alternative news. They have covered this at length so much to where I'm tired of listening to it. If I see in the title that they have anything that they're talking about in that video about Hamas or Palestine or Israel, I don't listen to it. Because for the simple fact is that people talking about this is causing more harm by not knowing all the information of what's going on than what they think. That's the reason why I haven't spoken about this. I haven't said anything about this because I don't know anything about it. And I believe with research and me trying to understand what's going on, I can get my answers from there. But at the same time, it's like I'm listening to these guys, and it's like they know a little bit of what they're talking about, but they're covering it too much. Like, I'm not saying that, by them covering it too much that more bullshit's happening over there. This shit has been probably boiling over for decades now, and we're just now seeing the aftermath of what the hell people from Gaza to people in Israel. And that's it. That's kind of like what I used to say about 9/11. America has fucked with certain countries in the Middle East so much that a regime had to be formed, of which it was America's doing, because they wanted the Taliban, to fight Russia. So blame America for that, as well as other militias with the Contra wars and all of that. America had a hand in that. So my whole thing was with that was and I kind of equated it to like a bully, right? So if you have a kid, let's say you have a kid, if you don't, whatever, just listen to what I have to say. If you have a kid and the kid's being bullied, right? And then you finally tell your kid, look, this is going to keep happening unless you do something about it. So what are you going to do tomorrow when you go to school? Are you going to fight the bully and show him that you're not to be picked on anymore? Or are you going to allow this bully to keep fucking with you until you graduate high school? Now, the victim always wants, something to happen, and your child will probably say, I wanted to stop, so I'm going to go to school tomorrow and I'm going to confront my bully. Okay, let's take that with the Taliban, which I believe America has something to do with it. When they, bombed the Twin Towers. Well, that comes from years and years of America fucking with certain countries in the Middle East that the Taliban, of which was a hand of America's, they got tired of what was going on and they did what they had to do. It's just basically it. So that's my whole spiel on that. But let's get back into the article. During Wednesday's show, Chappelle said that reports in the press are all hearsay and that what he said about the ongoing conflict got misquoted all over the world, according to the Times. And I will not repeat what I said. It's worth noting that audience members were not permitted access to their phones during Chappelle's set, which is not uncommon at comedy shows. When a woman in the audience reportedly shouted, "Free Palestine," Chappelle replied, per the Times, "Please, please, please, miss, listen. Don't start it up or I'm going to be in the news cycle for another week. This thing that's happening in the Middle East is bigger than everybody. This is what's happening, and believe me, I understand what's happening in Israel is a nightmare. What's happening in Palestine is a nightmare," he added. "There are only two kinds of people in the world: people who love and other people, people who love other people, and people who have things to make them afraid to love other people. Pray for everyone in Israel, pray for everyone in Palestine, and remember that every dead person is a dead person." Now, that was weird to say at the end of that, and I kind of agree with what he's saying, but with that being said, it's like he's right. Like, it's a nightmare on both sides. Like, one side has to deal with a regime that is harming them. Another side has to deal with a country that not only took land from them, but is also imprisoning them in their land and also telling them that, well, we are going to acquire this much of this land now, so you guys are going to have to push over a little bit and whatever. Like, the Gaza is a strip. It's a strip. If you look at the Middle East, you look at a map and you see Gaza, it's a strip of land. So with that being said, it's a nightmare for these people as well. One side doesn't want to be harmed, the other side just wants to be free. So it's like, what's wrong with that? And like, I pray that all of this stops. I hope they can come together, talk about it, try to come up with some sort of solution of what they can do to stop all of this. But I always say, once Pandora's box is open, man, how do you close it back when all this chaos is happening? So much so that World War III is trending on social media, more so Twitter or Twix or whatever. So it's trending because you still got the war in Ukraine against Russia, and then China is aiding Russia in certain aspects. But then China also wants to take over Taiwan, of which America has a hand in Taiwan, of which America said if China even tries to harm anybody in Taiwan, then they will react to China. And then we have what's going on in the Middle East. And a senator is basically saying, we will go to war with Iran if this happens. And then we're aiding Palestine from what Hamas has done. And it's like, we're spreading ourselves so fucking thin that if World War III were to break out, the US would basically be at an odd to where they wouldn't be able to fight. Because have you seen our recruitment numbers lately? We don't have a lot of recruits. So, and plus what I just heard this week about recruitment, of how they're passing certain inadequate people who can't do the job and pass the tests that they need to pass. It's like, what, like, how are we gonna win a war? Like, it's people coming back from their no, them being discharged. They're coming back because they're like, there aren't any recruits. Like, all these kids, like, I would say my generation, which is millennials. I don't call myself that, but the millennial generation, some of us went to war. So, like, 4 of my friends joined the military after they graduated high school. So, you know, some because it's tradition, some because, you know, their living situation wasn't, you know, the best. Some just wanted, you know, to see the world. So they took that opportunity. They asked me, did I want to, you know, join? I said, no, I'm good. So, I would leave this here and say, basically, I hope that this war stops soon, because, like, it's no reason for it. Like, I can understand why it happened, but it's no reason for it. Like, maybe somebody needs to step in, some country other than America needs to step in and basically bring both leaders of both countries together and basically say, why is this happening? And what can we do to stop it? So that concludes that topic of the random topics portion. Let's move into the last one of the night, and that is, and I get this this article from Newsweek. Tucker Carlson says new evidence clears Derek Chauvin of the murder of George Floyd. So, I will say this now before I get into the video or the article. This has nothing to do with George Floyd. Just off bat, it has nothing to do with George Floyd. But in a way, it has everything to do with George Floyd. So, I hope this doesn't mess up. But here is the video. I might have it play straight through because Tucker Carlson does make a few good points. So let's get into it and let's see what you guys have to say about it.
Actually murder a man called a civil rights leader in Minneapolis on Memorial Day of 2020. Now, we've been told that happened, told it relentlessly for more than 3 years. So at this point, we've been told it so much that pretty much everybody seems to believe it. And because everyone does kind of believe it, a small group of people has been allowed to make massive changes to American society. They include, but are not limited to, decriminalizing stealing, defunding the police, adding a new federal holiday to the calendar called Juneteenth, the ceasing of hiring all white men in corporate America, and of course, significantly, they also sent a cop called Derek Chauvin to prison for more than 40 years. He would be the racist white devil who murdered George Floyd. But the question is, did he actually murder George Floyd? And the answer is, well, no, he didn't murder George Floyd. We're not guessing about that. We know it conclusively thanks to a new court case now underway in Hennepin County, Minnesota. The case was brought by a prosecutor there.
All right. So, I will say this. Hold on, you guys didn't get to hear the name.
Called Amy Sweezy. She's
all right, so there's the name. And I will say, and I want to say this as clear as possible. By him saying that Derek Chauvin had nothing to do with George Floyd's murder, I will say this: it's a bunch of bullshit. Because yeah, the man was high when Derek Chauvin apprehended him. Yeah, the man used a $20 bill that was fake. Yeah, the man was resisting arrest. But I would say kneeling on a man's neck for 10 minutes and 28 seconds, there's no reason for that. The man was just being abrasive. He was being he wasn't cooperating with police officers. I understand all of that. But to say that Derek Chauvin wasn't the reason for the reason of his death, of which you guys can look at the court case again. Go there to Star Tribune YouTube channel and watch the case. What was that doctor's name? It was two doctors, Dr. Tobin and Dr. Baker, I believe. Yes, Dr. Andrew Baker. Dr. Chauvin and Dr. Chauvin. Dr. Tobin and Dr. Andrew Baker both said in their sworn in statements, when asked the question of, was it the fentanyl that killed George Floyd, or was it asphyxiation by Derek Chauvin, by him being kneeling on his neck, right? Both said, although he had a lethal amount of fentanyl in his system, but his death was due to of asphyxiation. This is what they said. And Dr. Tobin's examination by the defense and cross-examination by, no, I'm sorry, the examination by the prosecutors and the cross-examination by the defense, if you watch that video, of which they brought Dr. Tobin back towards like the end of the case, right? They brought Dr. Tobin back and he laid out verbatim what exactly was the cause of the death and the events that led up to it and his findings in his autopsy. Just look at those videos. He clearly states it was due by asphyxiation. Although we know that he had at least a lethal dose of fentanyl in his bloodstream, but it doesn't negate the fact that the man wasn't able to properly breathe for 10 minutes and 28 seconds. But, you know, most conservatives, I would say even certain leftists and progressive wouldn't say that. But I will say this, because I'm on either side. I will say this. It all goes to show that certain people take certain information as fact and truth and they always say believe half of what you see. But it's like if it's blatantly in my face, why would I not believe what I'm looking at? Like, we've seen it on video by several different angles. If you watch the court case, you got police cam footage, you got phone camera footage. You have street camera footage of the whole incident. Now, although I have made certain comments when it comes to George Floyd, I still hold my first opinion about it. It was murder. It was murder. Any way you look at it, it was murder. And this is what they never bring up. They never bring this up. Derek Chauvin and George Floyd knew each other. They never bring that up anymore. How did they know each other? People might ask. Well, George Floyd worked at a nightclub in Minneapolis. Derek Chauvin also worked at that same nightclub as security. George Floyd was inside security. Derek Chauvin was outside security. Or was a police officer that was just, in the area looking over what was happening just in case he had to make some arrests, right? So if that's the case, right? So yes, in some way, sort of fashion, they would have to know each other because George Floyd is protecting an establishment, and also Derek Chauvin is overseeing that the establishment doesn't have anything happen to it. So they know each other. So instead of Chauvin trying to talk to the guy, of which the young man who rung George Floyd up said it's all his fault because none of that would have never happened if he would have never called the police. So it falls on somebody as well of why all of that was going on. It falls on somebody. Now we have somebody that feels guilty that a man died if he would have never done something. Although what he did was right, but at the same time, the owner of the store could have been like, "Man, this happens all the time. Just tell him put the the merchandise back, come back with some real money, and then he can get what he was getting." Like that's all that had to happen. But at the same time, it's like it didn't happen. So we got what we got. So let's continue this.
A prosecutor there called Amy Sweezy. She's suing her boss. So the case is not actually about George Floyd or Derek Chauvin, but it tells you an awful lot about both of them. In her deposition, which you should read, Amy Sweezy describes a conversation that she had with the county medical examiner, Andrew Baker, right after George Floyd died. Quote, "I called Dr. Baker early that morning to tell him about the case and to ask him if he would perform the autopsy on Mr. Floyd." Sweezy recalls all this under oath in the deposition. Quote, "He called me later in the day on that Tuesday, and he told me that there were no medical findings that showed any injury to the vital structures of Mr. Floyd's neck. There were no medical indications of asphyxia or strangulation." Oh. In other words, George Floyd, according to the official autopsy, was not murdered. He died instead of what we used to call natural causes, which in his case would include decades of drug use, as well as the fatal concentration of fentanyl that was in his system on his final day. So this was not a killing. It was yet another narcotics OD in a country that records more than 100,000 of them every year. The medical examiner clearly understood that and, in fact, articulated it. And Sweezy explains. "He said to me," she recalls in the deposition, "Amy, what happens when the actual evidence doesn't match up with the public narrative that everyone's already decided on?" And then he said, quote, "This is the kind of case that ends careers." In other words, everyone lied about it from the very beginning. The people who knew the truth hid the truth and allowed the revolution to proceed. Now they've been exposed. Now we know the truth.
Okay, so with that, who lied? Because I'm sure certain things that a medical examiner has to do when preparing the body for the autopsy, and as well as what they find and stuff like that, what they test, with the tests that they do and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that in some way that they can find that, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, he had fentanyl in the system, but why would, okay, well, this is what happened. I believe Dr. Baker was the defense's medical examiner. The prosecutor's medical examiner was Dr. Tobin. So when they were, basically doing what they did on the stand, like, you can't lie. Like, if you lie on the stand and you get found that you lied, then you get placed in jail. So is Dr. Baker saying in his statement that he made to Amy Sweezy that he lied on the stand to not only the people in the courtroom but to America? Is he saying that he lied on the stand to us and basically saying that he made a wrong decision in his findings? He made it look like something else when it wasn't. Is that what he's saying? Because if that's the case, if he's saying that, and if that's the case, then he's might go to jail for that. So, Dr. Baker, I'm screaming to you right now, is if that is your statement and what you believe to be true, then you need to be tried for lying under oath. So, anyway, let's continue the video.
What happens next? Well, they're going to ignore it. The Biden administration just issued a long purple statement celebrating George Floyd's birthday. He's a martyr, despite the fact we know that he was not murdered. And by the way, Derek Chauvin is still languishing in jail for the rest of his life. So how do we respond to this? How do we respond to the truth once we have it? Well, Vince Everett Ellison seemed like a good man to ask. He's the author of Crime, Inc. He joins us now. Vince, thanks so much for coming on. So as with so many other stories, the origin of COVID, it's a blessing to have you.
Black dude.
We now know what actually happened, but the question then is, what do you do with that knowledge? What do we do with that knowledge? What do we do with the knowledge that George Floyd was not actually strangled to death by a cop?
We have to acknowledge the people that gave it to us and why. See, George Floyd is the Democratic Party's prototypical black man. These are the black men they are trying to create. So George Floyd has to be elevated. He has to be celebrated. He's perfect to them. He was poor. He was uneducated. He was a drug addict. He didn't have a job. He was down there begging and crying and asking the white people to not kill him. To a Democrat, to a white Democrat, this is the perfect black man. So he has to be elevated. Look, not... All
right, so that shit was embarrassing. Because I don't think George Floyd was elevated for the fact that he was killed by an officer. I believe people elevated George Floyd because he was, well, I will say, killed by a police officer. Like, there's no way to go around any of this. Like, we saw with our own eyes what happened. And I will say this. I don't think that they elevated George Floyd for the fact that they think that he was a martyr or whatever. But this is what I would say, and I said this before. If you look at this from like a biblical stance, which I know some of y'all be like, nah, Marcus, we not playing that game with you. Like You about to say something crazy. Nah, just listen to me. Um, damn, was that the reason why I couldn't hear none of this shit? Anyway, um, so this is what I will say. There, there were there were two catalysts before the lid blew off of all this shit. You had the young lady in Louisville. Then you had the young man in Georgia that was killed by those two men in that neighborhood. They shot him with a shotgun. And we all know the other story with the young lady. Cops showed up at her house, shot into the house. Boyfriend shot back because he didn't know who the hell they were. And then they wound up shooting in the house and killing her. And also, some of their bullets went into neighboring apartment buildings. So two killings happened within like a 2 months time, 3 months time. And then in June, well, May really, in May of that same year, George Floyd happens, which was the end of May. That was what blew everything out of proportion. So we're not looking at George Floyd as a martyr or as someone who has to be elevated, but within a 4 month span, 3 black people died. Now you said so. I did say you got to look at this biblically, right? The original Holy Trinity is man, woman, child, right? The Holy Trinity was man, woman, child. George Floyd, man. Woman would be I forgot the young lady's name. And then you got the young man as the child in Georgia. Holy Trinity. So you get 2 black men and a black woman in 1 year. One, because they're serving a subpoena to somebody who was using the address of someone. Then you have another one of the young man who was basically accused of stealing out of a house that was being renovated. See what they said, he stole drills and hammers and shit. When I believe, this is my thoughts, I believe that young man was autistic. As you can see in one of the videos of a cop basically pulling over to see what he's doing in, I guess it was a park or something like that. And they arrested him. Or yeah, I think they arrested him because he was resisting arrest. But they basically was asking him questions that they didn't really need to answer. He was pulled over. Keys wasn't in the car. He was just chilling on his car, doing whatever. And then that happens. He gets harassed by police officers wondering what he's doing on, I guess, that side of town. To the point to where, if we fast forward to that next year, he's being harassed and then shot by 3 people that have nothing to do with why he's in the area. He basically was in the area because that was one of the routes he would take when he would go on his runs. Now, if you hear Tim Pool say it, he was guilty of, and he was the suspect of who was stealing out of that house. But if you look at the videotape of him walking into the house, the shit was open. Like, they had a tarp over the areas of, or over the area of what they was working on. It was a tarp. So the house wasn't secure because it was being renovated, right? It was basically covered over with a tarp for people to have good faith of not going in there. But he went in there. Maybe he was admiring what was going on. Like, oh, this is how you renovate a house. I don't know. I wasn't in his head. I don't know. So for that to happen, for them to follow, to basically go on a hunt for him, basically, which I do say it was stupid that he fought with them and they had guns. Like the father and the son had a shotgun and I believe a revolver, and then the other guy had his phone and he was recording everything. And people don't understand why that man went to jail. Well, he's an accessory. He also filmed it all, and he also put it up on social media. Why wouldn't he be a suspect? Like, I don't understand some people's thinking on the right half the time. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why did he go to jail? Motherfucker is an accessory of murder. What are you talking about? So, that black dude, man, I don't understand his thinking as though George Floyd was elevated to this, whatever, and then, he's the reason why we got Juneteenth as a national holiday. And it's like, I said this before, Juneteenth, black people didn't want, for the simple fact that there was already Juneteenth celebrations happening all over America without the help of the government. And with that being said, I also said, well, here goes Juneteenth being another hamburger hot dog holiday. And what happened? First year, when the first annual year it happened, what happened? They were selling plates and cups and shit at grocery stores to celebrate Juneteenth, and food was going on sale. Another hamburger hot dog holiday that they gave us. Anyway, let's dive into a little bit of this article as I still have you guys. So, conservative pundit Tucker Carlson also claims this week the new court papers show George Floyd was not murdered in May 2022 by then police officer Derek Chauvin. Former Minneapolis police officer Chauvin, who is white, was found guilty in April 2021 of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in the death of George Floyd, who was black. In the new clip on X, formerly Twitter, on Friday, Carlson alleged a recent court deposition had proven Chauvin had not murdered Floyd. However, as Newsweek has found, Carlson's analysts bear some examination in a video clip posted on X, formerly Twitter, by Tucker Carlson account on October 20th, 2023, and since viewed more than 21 million times. Carlson said that Floyd was not murdered by Chauvin. Carlson said during the clip, did Chauvin murder George Floyd? And the answer is, well, no, he didn't murder George Floyd. We're not guessing about that. We know it conclusively thanks to a new court case now underway in Hamilton County, Minnesota, that refers to an ongoing lawsuit by Amy Sweesey, a prosecutor in Hennepin County, where the Chauvin case was tried. Sweesey is suing the county over a legal settlement she reached with it in 2022. She said initially filed discrimination charges against the county. Case file include a deposition from Sweesey in which she mentioned a conversation with the county's medical examiner, Dr. Andrew Baker, after he performed Floyd's autopsy. A lack of injury does not mean there was no asphyxiation either. Dr. Gregory Davis, a medical examiner to Jefferson County, Alabama, told the Associated Press in June 2022 I'm sorry, June 2020, that bruising or damage to the neck doesn't in any way mean that asphyxiation didn't occur, only that there are no signs of it on the body. So what Sweezy said in new court documents, deposition that Carlson quoted does not advance the claim that Floyd was not murdered. Sweezy spoke to counsel for the defendant as part of the lawsuit against the county on August 21st, 2023, available via Minnesota court records online. In her deposition, Sweezy recalled a conversation with Baker in June 2020, during which he alleged which allegedly said there were no medical findings that showed any injury to a vital structure of George Floyd's neck. So Sweezy added that Baker said this is the kind of case that ends careers. Well, could end yours, homie, if you sitting there in line. Anyway, there's no other information about the context or detail of the conversation between Sweezy and Baker. Newsweek has contacted Sweezy's attorney via email for comment. A representative of Hennepin County told Newsweek that Dr. Baker cannot comment on statements made by other people in depositions. He stands by the autopsy report in his televised testimony, both of which are publicly available. You can access the autopsy report here. So also in this, medical examiner's conclusions of Floyd's death, as stated, Baker concluded in Floyd's autopsy that he died from cardiopulmonary arrest, which is basically a heart attack, complicating law enforcement, subdual restraint, and neck compression, labeled his death a homicide. Carlson's claim that Baker understood Floyd died of natural causes related to drug use, therefore, is wrong. During Chauvin's trial, Baker told Chauvin's attorney that if Floyd had been found at home in his locked residence with no evidence of trauma, and the only autopsy finding was his fentanyl level, then yes, I would certify his death is due to fentanyl toxicity. Adding the interpretation of drug concentrations is very context dependent. Kind of know what that means, but at the same time, I can't explain it. So sorry for that. However, just as the autopsy stated, Baker said it was his opinion that Floyd experienced a cardiopulmonary arrest in the context of the law enforcement subdual restraint and neck compression. It was the stress that interacted that tipped him over the edge, given his underlying heart disease and his toxicology status. Carlson was approached for comment via his X account on the morning of October 24th. He has yet to respond to the points raised above. So, what I will say on this is that there's more evidence to come, probably more to really be said about all of this, because we don't know what the fuck's going on. So, I'm pretty sure Tucker really doesn't know what's going on. So all we can do is really look at court paperwork of which this lawsuit is going on, look at that, see what's going on, and then also, I guess, try and find some sort of way to conclude it for ourselves. Because I always tell you guys, do your own research. Conclude for ourselves what we think is the cause of death of George Floyd. I would say, asphyxiation, because he said he couldn't breathe, had a heart attack, he had high fentanyl levels, so it could be a mix of all of them. So But that concludes tonight's show. People, let's get into a short show summary. Went over the whole dating thing, basically still going over this whole Cheesecake Factory lady shit. And I really feel as though that women, if you guys are getting relationship advice from people or basically normal people like you that work a 9 to 5 like you, and you're getting your information from these people, then I would say stop, get your own brain, and also create your own rules when it comes to you being in a relationship. Because by y'all following everybody else's way of living when it comes to being in a relationship, that's the reason why black women are at a high rate of not getting married. Black women are at a high rate of not being desired, and at a high rate of just becoming single mothers and being left out in the cold by the nigga who knocked them up. So I would say make better relationship choices, make better lifestyle choices, and just make better choices altogether. For the simple fact that on the first date, a man isn't supposed to take you to a $200 plate dinner. Like, he's not supposed to do that on the first date. And by you wanting to only be at exclusive places that only require a waiting list and a reservation, just know there's no prices on that menu, nor will I spend money on somebody that I don't even know I'm gonna have a second date with. So just keep that in mind, ladies, when y'all going out on a date. Just know that man isn't entitled to doing anything for you. So just keep that in mind. So I also covered the the N.O.I versus A.D.L lawsuit. I hope something good comes out of that, because a lot of times Farrakhan has explained himself to the point to where he's over explaining himself, and I'm sitting here like, I understand what you're saying. You ain't gotta say it no more. And that's not what the A.D.L thinks. So that's the reason why they're in the predicament that they're in now. Just saying. Also, I covered the whole Dave Chappelle statements about the Hamas and Israel thing, or Palestine or whatever. And I would say it's just like, to me, it's out of my hands. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So I'm not even going to say any more other than I don't think that what Dave Chappelle said was anything different from what anybody else is out here saying that disagrees with the talking points that everyone has to take when it comes to this situation. Um, what else? What else? Oh, just talked about this whole lawsuit that has nothing to do with George Floyd, everything to do with George Floyd. I would say I hope that Derek Chauvin continues his 22 years in prison, because he literally kneeled on somebody's neck. He killed somebody. We all saw it by several different angles, and it's no reason to think otherwise, because we all saw it. We all watched the court case. We all saw all the different angles. We all heard the testimonies. It's no reason to go any further than that, other than to keep Derek Chauvin in jail, and that's it. That's it, and that's all. So that concludes today's show, people. Let's get into our me gracing y'all with some last things, basically some promotions. So people, if you could, please remember every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do this here show called Marcus Speaks Live. It's my podcast I do every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So So please don't forget to come and check me out on Fridays, as well as tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be streaming Spider-Man 2. It just came out last week, so I will be playing that again until we finish it. I'm thinking about doing like 2.5 to 3 hours tomorrow, so come on through. Let's have some fun. I'll be talking to you guys as I play the game, so make sure you are here. And, just let's talk. So subscribe to this here channel. If you haven't already done that, go to the description box, hit that Rumble link, follow me on Rumble so I can start streaming live over to Rumble. Because, once I start getting people in here, more people in here, we can start talking about the situation of whatever topic that you guys want to cover that I present that night. We can talk about it, and if things get a little spicy over here on YouTube, I can cut this stream, continue it over on Rumble, and that's it. So please do me that favor. Please hit that link in the description box. Follow me on Rumble, because I would love for you guys to start calling in. And when you start calling in, you can call in now if you want. I always have the link and the number posted in the live chat. There's always rules. Rule number 1, if you want to come up, please hit the link in the description box, or you can call the number that is posted also in the, I said the link's posted in the description box. It's posted in the live chat as well as the number as well. But it also comes with rules. Rule number 1, you must be on camera at all times. That means here on the backstage, and if you want to be shown to the audience. But if you don't, please let me know in the private chat here. Let me know if you don't want to be on camera, and then I can further accommodate you from there. And then rule number 3 is basically please silence all background noise, because that's key to me talking to you. There's a lot of noise that I'm hearing. I won't be able to really hear you, so I'll just boot you off. You can get mad at me, but just know it's your fault that you got booted. So, and second to the last thing that I have to say is like this video, subscribe, hit that bell icon to all. When I have a live video, when I'm posting a pre-recorded video, comment in the comment section once this video is done, and share this video to your social medias, family and friends, and anyone else who you like. Last thing that I have to say is please focus on getting to the money, because we all know money makes the world go round, as well as please drink more water. It's much healthier for you. Please mind your own business for health, for mental health purposes. And also, please, if you don't believe a damn thing I said tonight, do your own research. It helps you out in the long run. I have been Marcus. This has been Marcus Speaks Live. People, I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll check you guys out tomorrow afternoon. Peace out, y'all.